Okay, we've got core and restore today. So here's a little bit of a warm up for you. You can do about 30 seconds to a minute each. So just moving through cat-cow, moving through flexion and extension of the spine, just taking nice deep breaths. And then we're going to go into a kneeling plank and then kick the hips back into a child's pose. So just gently rocking back and forth, only going as far as feels good for your body. So just checking in with your body during the warm-up, seeing how things feel. And then moving into a low lunge. So I keep my back knee down, but you can also bring that back knee up for a deeper stretch. And we're just twisting towards that front leg. So I'm alternating sides just to kind of get warmed up through the hips and the torso. And if that's a little bit challenging down on the floor, you can always hinge forward, open up through the torso first, and then go into some lunges, just tucking the hips forward slightly, chest up to open up through the hips and get the legs warmed up a little bit. So we'll start with figure 8. I wouldn't suggest going too heavy. We want to face a direction and keep the hips square to the direction we're facing as we make a figure 8 or an 8 motion with the dumbbell. So you're going to feel that pull side to side, and we want to try to keep everything square the way that we're facing. So I'm pulling my belly button in and up. The further out you hold the weight, the harder that's going to be. So you can hold it in. And then again, the heavier the weight, the harder that's going to be as well. Second exercise is a tabletop plank. So we're tenting the fingers. Fingers are nice and wide. Fingertips are nice and wide. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. We're going to tuck the toes and just pull the knees up off the floor. Back is nice and neutral. And I'm pulling my navel in and up. An option other than tabletop plank is a bird dog. So we're reaching opposite arm, opposite leg, and keeping the hips square to the floor. Third exercise, we've got a marching bridge. So we're going to roll the hips up. We're going to keep the hips high and alternate bringing the knee towards the chest. So we're shifting our weight from side to side. That can be a little intense on the low back. So another option is to do your bridge, march right and left, and then lower in between, or when you start to feel that fatigue in your low back. Okay, another option is just to do bridges, so rolling the hips up and back down, nice and slow, kind of each little vertebrae of the spine comes up and then all the way back down. And then we're going to finish off with a side plank. So we've got our elbow under the shoulder. We've got our feet stacked. We can also scissor the feet, so bring one foot forward, or we can tuck the bottom knee, bend the bottom knee, and come up on that top foot. So we get the hips up nice and high, keeping the upper body open. You don't have to bring your arm up. If that bugs your shoulder, you can have your arm down. And then just hold it as long as you can. You can always drop down and then come back up when you're ready. And we'll just do that on both sides. So when you're ready for restore, you can either time each exercise or pose, or just do it as long as feels good for you. So we're going to walk out, or inchworm. So bending from the hips, folding forward from the hips, walking out to plank, then sending the tailbone up and back, and then walking the hands back in. So just take it nice and slow. Bend the legs if you need to. You can always drop down on your knees and just sink back into child's pose like we did during the warm-up, if that feels better for you. Then we're going to go into book openers. So I place my hand gently behind my head. I'm going to tap my elbow down towards my opposite wrist, and then I'm going to open up to the side. So just open up as far as feels comfortable for you, taking nice deep breaths, inhaling as you open, exhaling as you drop down. Once you've done both sides, you can bring your knees nice and wide, big toes together, and just sink the hips back for a wide child's pose. So you'll feel the stretch more into the hips and inner thigh. And just really breathe into the low back in that. Kneeling lunge, we're going to bring our front knee over our front ankle. Back knee is quite a bit back, and we're just going to fold into the lunge and then push the hips back. Try to straighten that front leg, flex the foot for a hamstring stretch. So we're just gently shifting forward and back. And then here's an option standing. So lunge, we're going to bring that back foot in after that lunge and then sink into a hamstring stretch. So just do what feels good. Take your time. There's really no right or wrong. Just listen to your body here. Once you've done both sides, we've got wipers. So we're going to take our feet as wide as our mat. Drop the knees side to side, just tucking slightly forward through the hips. And then once we've done about 10, we're going to stay on the right side for about 30 to 60 seconds. And then we're going to do 10 more, or however many more you do, and then we'll drop it to the left side and hold it for 30 to 60 seconds. And then we're going to finish with 3 nice and gentle bridges. And then one at a time, bring those knees in towards the chest, just gently rocking side to side. Feel a nice stretch through the low back. And you can stay here as long as you want. Feel free to add in any extra stretches you like.